Greg, Maya, and Betty are not experts, nor do they claim to be. They're just a bunch of nerds who enjoy talking about movies, shows, and current events. So sit back, grab a coffee, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode of All Queued Up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, the review podcast tied to streaming services like Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Netflix, HBO Max. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya, Don Fisher, and Betty Badger. How are you two doing this week?
I've had a hell of a week already, but yeah, I'm here. How about you, Maya?
Pretty good. Just working on some things here, some craft projects and playing D&D and, nothing terrible happening in my world, as opposed to the world.
There's always something bad happening.
Yeah, there's always something horrible happening.
I'd like to say
things for me personally going really well. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, if anyone wants to relay this, Governor Greg Abbott, I hope that you fucking die slow, painful death.
Oh my, we're going there. Well, I mean, I'm not one to wish ill on people publicly, but yeah, that guy can die in a tire fire.
Oh, I agree with you. There are people that deserve it though. Straight up, I don't care. Like anger, straight anger towards.
Yeah, at this point, my ability for empathy is severely lacking. So I just don't. Fuck you all is how I kind of feel at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Did you see? And I know this isn't. I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but in the moment. Did you see the article yesterday, Betty, on WCYB about Ballad Healthcare? That's our regional healthcare provider, pretty much our only option.
Yeah.
They've gotten their capacity.
Oh yeah.
And they've shown a letter that they gave to employees, like a form that people were going to have to sign when they go in, saying, this is how your treatment's going to be evaluated. If conditions don't improve, you're going to be evaluated on day 2. You'll be evaluated on day 5. If your conditions haven't improved, they're going to prioritize. And like, if you don't have a bed, you're going to be turfed.
Sounds like a triaging.
It's really bad. And the people in the WCYB comments are like, well, it's Ballard's fault. How's it Ballard's fault?
It's not. It's your fault.
You anti-mask, anti-vax, goat fucking motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's not Ballard's fault. And I don't like Ballard. But, I'm sorry when the majority of people who are taking up these beds are people who have said, my body, my choice, fuck your vaccine. Well, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my hospital if you don't believe in medicine. You don't get to cherry pick this shit.
Mm-hmm.
There are people trying to undergo cancer treatments or, who have broken bones or something horrible is happening to them that is beyond their control. And you're taking up space because you decided to not do something that could have totally prevented this to begin with. Fuck you.
We are being held back medically in this society because of dumb motherfuckers who don't want to understand how science works, refuse to understand how science works, and then weirdly fucking contradict themselves with trusting science, but then not trusting science.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest shit. It's like, if you don't trust the vaccine to keep you safe and are taking fucking horse dewormer or weed killer because you think it's going to help, and then you have to go to the hospital because you're too fucking stupid to understand how things work. No, you don't get to go to the fucking hospital. Stay home and die. I don't care.
At this point, that's where I'm at. I'm like, this is natural selection at this point. You have every opportunity to advance your species and make life better for everyone, and you are being willfully ignorant to the point of putting everyone else's health in danger. You're not just dealing with yourself, you're dealing with everybody else. You don't get in a car and drive drunk and say, well, it's my body, my choice, because, there are other people on the fucking road. It's like, I'm sorry, a mask, fuck you. I wear a mask to protect you, not to protect me, to protect you. Why can you not do the same for me? What is so hard about this?
And on that note, if you're too fucking stupid to understand how the Bible works, or you're listening to somebody else on on what the Bible says, you're fucking dumb as shit. First and foremost, there's a whole passage about how if you are sick, you wear a fucking mask, straight up. A whole passage about wearing a fucking fabric over your face. Secondly, the Bible was translated to talk about homosexuality in 1940 to fit a fucking narrative. It's always been about pedophilia. Get that fucking shit out of here. Holy shit.
This turned into the angry show this morning.
We all had to get something off our chest. Also, if you're praising a picture of the Jesus, you need to know this. It's either Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci's gay lover. That's who you're staring at. That's who you're praising to. You dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Angry Greg is on the warpath. Angry Greg. He's so angry.
Oh, dude, I'm so fed up with the stupidity in this country. I'm just so fucking fed up with it.
I mean, I'm severely lacking in empathy, and I'm just like, last year they were drinking aquarium cleaner. Now they're taking horse dewormers, but yet calling us the idiots for getting vaccine. And then they're the ones in the hospital beds, and, then blaming healthcare providers and saying the federal government hasn't done enough. Sorry, the federal government, gave out what was on hand last year. It's gone. There's nothing else. This shit was preventable. Yep. And it's frustrating. I'm like, I want to see an end to this pandemic. I was hoping by this time of the year that things would be under control, but it's going in the opposite direction again. It's trending in the wrong direction. You're going to start seeing shit in the next couple of weeks start getting canceled more and more. You watch.
Yep.
And oh yeah, I mean, Bambi's already talked about them canceling things. I guarantee you they're going to end up canceling Rhythm and Roots. I mean, people are already pulling out of that.
When performers are pulling out of it because of the lack of vaccinated and the unhealthy and unsafe practices that are dominant in this area, it's not a good sign.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't blame anybody for canceling shit right now. It's like, people ask me, when am I going to open up? And I'm like, when people stop being stupid, because I'm sorry, my first priority is my child and my family's health.
Yeah.
And right now y'all are too motherfucking stupid to act right when you enter a store or engage in, any type of public communication. And I can't guarantee at this point that I'm not going to knock a bitch out. So, it's best for everybody if I just stay home.
Yeah. I mean, I have to go into stores and stuff like that. And I always see these videos of anti-maskers on video that people are recording them or some of that effect. And I'm at the point like, these motherfuckers are lucky that they don't do it around me. Straight up.
Oh, yeah. I think for me personally, my Karen haircut protects me in a lot of ways, as long as I keep my mouth shut. Nobody says anything to me. And so, because I have the typical Karen look. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to pretend it. I use it to my advantage. I don't act like a Karen in the wild. But again, it's camouflage.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to happier stuff ish.
Yeah. If anybody's still here
ish. Yeah. So briefly, before we talk about the shows that we're going to review, I did want to bring up something that Maya and I watched that I do recommend. I don't know how much Maya recommends it, but real briefly, the Bob Ross documentary on Netflix.
Happy
you're-
accidents and betrayals.
Yeah.
Poor Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you
my
watch that, Betty?
God.
I have not watched it, but I do know Bob Ross's story pretty well. I grew
See, I
up
never
on
heard
Bob
this.
Ross.
I never
Yeah,
heard this
dude
story.
had a fucked up life, man, and how he ended up painting happy trees is crazy.
Oh,
It's-
no, this doesn't go into any aspects like of his life prior to his career, his
Oh,
painting career.
really? That's
No,
surprising.
It does
this
very
is
briefly, very briefly, but
yeah,
not to any in-depthness.
because all of that pales in comparison to the
Oh, the shit
to
they put him through on the show?
yeah.
Yeah. It's like motherfucker had to perm his hair for the rest of his fucking life because it was iconic. And yeah, I love Bob Ross. I have a little Bob Ross that I have on my car. I've got a Buddy Jesus and a Bob Ross bobblehead next to each other. And
I've got a Buddy Crust from
yeah,
Dogma.
that's what I've got. And they're, glued onto my dash. Those are my two buddies. But yeah, Bob Ross, they put that man through hell. I mean,
Well, it's not just what Bob Ross went through because according to his son, he still loved meeting people even if he had to keep the perm because he even made a joke about it in his life where he said I have to go tighten the springs. But what he hated was the people he made business deals with, the couple.
Yeah.
That's what the story is mostly about, and how fucked over they made not only him but Bob's family as well.
yeah.
It's unbelievably fucked up. And at that point, it's like if you are a painter and you're buying Bob Ross paints, stop. Straight up stop.
Yeah.
Weber makes oil paints that are the exact same that don't go to Bob Ross Inc.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it was Simon Whistler or one of the other YouTube channels I watched, but they did like a little, thing, top 10 things you didn't know about Bob Ross or something like that. That's where I saw some of the information you're talking about. And I don't buy Bob Ross products outside of the little Bob Ross that Jeff got me. That's the only thing I have of his.
I have two things in my room. It was the Chia Pet and an air freshener, just because I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Other than that, I don't buy Bob Ross, but
Yeah.
Fuck those two people. Like I can't remember their last name for the life of me, but but it's a fascinating story. Also, like it's a really interesting documentary. So if you're
Yeah,
looking
I've
for,
got it on my list to watch. So
Misty and I watched it last Thursday morning, and she was crying at the end of it.
don't tell me that. I'm going to cry now.
I'll say this without spoiling it. I think Bob would be really proud of his son, regardless.
Yes.
So, all right. Anyway, moving on. So, what we're going to talk about today, everybody, is the movie that you can find on HBO Max, Freaky, starring Vince Vaughn, and the fourth episode of Marvel's What If. We're going to actually dive right into What If first, and then we'll get into Freaky. This episode of What If was titled "What If Stephen Strange lost, or what if Strange instead of losing his hands lost his heart, or something to that effect."
What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
Okay, I had it backwards. The general gist of the story is instead of him texting somebody and driving off the road and damaging his hands to where he couldn't be a surgeon anymore, which caused him to seek the mystic arts. What if Christine Palmer was in the car and she died? And then we kind of go from there. So this might have been the saddest episode yet.
Yeah, I was crying. Not gonna lie.
It was brutal, and it hit too close to home.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
We got up and we're watching it, and it was just he kept doing it over and over and over again, and I was like, how can he keep doing this without fracturing his mind? I mean,
And that's exactly what the ancient one saw.
and like Maya said, she has her reasons, I'm sure, why it hits too close to home. I have mine why it hits too close to home, and it
Well,
was hard.
I think to an extent, if you're watching this and you're not feeling some kind of emotion and like a little bit of heartache from watching the scenes happen, you're not human.
Yeah.
I think.
And
Like,
I think everybody did a really good job with the voice acting in this
oh
one.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
might have been the best episode voice acting wise so far.
I love Cumber Bunny. I love him so much.
I was also surprised that every single actor was from the movies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, everyone came back for this one.
Yeah, and they did such a good job, I mean, some of the other actors who've come in, they obviously need a camera to be able to project things better.
Yeah.
Voice acting is a very unique talent, and just because you're an actor doesn't mean you're a good voice actor. But everybody in this one, they did phenomenal. This episode was just, it was
Yeah,
heart-wrenching.
I was gonna say Benedict has had quite a bit of experience voice acting.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I can't remember the actress who plays Christine Palmer.
Leslie Bibb.
What? Oh, Leslie Bibb.
I thought
that
was no.
That was Christine Everhart, the news anchor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just pulled the fucking IMDb, Greg. Just do that. Oh, this was also the first time the Watcher interacted, which I was like, okay, that's very Watcher-esque.
I liked that.
I'm still waiting for him to full on get involved.
Well, like when he opened
Rachel
the hole,
McAdams.
Rachel McAdams, thank you.
That's it. When he opened the hole and the tentacles came out, I was like, oh, it's like episode 1. I wonder if that's the same creature. And then when he started like absorbing them, I was like, no, stop, don't do this. I mean, just the whole thing was cinematically very well
gorgeous.
done. The story was very well done. How they wove the Watcher into it. I mean, it was so good. And yeah, I cried. I was very teary.
Have you guys noticed something about each episode? And that's the Watchers becoming more and more of a presence. Like in the last episode of the Avengers one, he's in the far distance back shot on multiple scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the first episode, he's almost non-existent, and then in the second episode, he's just in the very opening shot with the planets. But other than that, like he wasn't really a big thing, and like he's just becoming more and more of a presence, and I love that.
But the fact that he doesn't interfere, I think, is excellent. It's like, why don't you stop this? I can't stop this. I'm not a god. I love that part, because he is just a watcher. He is not God. He is not here to make things better for you. He's just the watcher.
Yep. Oh God. And then that we were talking about the visuals of the episode. Like this is another episode that benefits from it being animated.
Yes.
I feel.
Especially the sequence where Strange has gone to the library and he is combating and absorbing these mystical entities.
Yeah.
And how the time is progressing, how he has frozen himself in time, but centuries are progressing outside while he's doing this.
Yeah.
That was well done.
Fucking. I think that's the craziest part about this episode is that it's easily the most like heart-wrenching, saddest episode so far, but also the most gorgeous episode so far.
Yeah.
And
well, I think it's a story that, a lot of people could identify with because we've all lost somebody. We've all, done the what if we had made this decision or that decision, would it have changed the outcome of this or that? And, certain things are fixed points. Certain things can't be, once something's done, it can't be undone, no matter how much we wish it. And I think that is going to touch a lot of people who watch this episode because they're going to understand that feeling.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people's reaction to it so far, and it's just like one of my favorite, not favorite, one of the things I see quite often that I always find very fascinating is that I don't, and maybe it's just because of my years and years of getting attached to characters that get killed off or something to that effect, that I just don't do it anymore. But people getting like really, really attached to these characters, and when something like this happens to them, they immediately are just like super upset. And last week, and then this week, and even in, I think, what episode was it? The first episode, or was it it was something else? But it's whenever like they have to watch the scene of Vision dying, or last week watching all the Avengers die. It like really fucking upsets them, like hardcore. There's a few people that hate this show because of the last 2 episodes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like shit, like.
Well, this is what if. I mean, again, things. This is the universe. This is life. Not everything is wrapped up neatly with a bow. You know.
And nothing. I mean, stories are more interesting when they're not. To me.
Absolutely. And if you want everything wrapped up with a bow, go read some fucking Dr. Seuss. Because that's what level you're on. I mean, I wouldn't say I get attached to characters, but I am a very emotional person, and I cry very easily. I'm very empathetic for the most part. I'm not so empathetic to some people right now in real life, but it's like I rewatched Oh Brother Where Art Thou the other day. It's one of my favorite movies. I still cry when I watch it. I still cry when I watch Fried Green Tomatoes. I was crying this morning watching What If, I was crying when I read the news about Texas. I'm a very highly emotionally charged person, but I don't take it personally. I just feel the emotion,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I for example, the last movie that I can remember actually crying at was In the Heights. And it wasn't because a character that I liked died. It was because a character I liked was going through some fucking pain. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene that's pretty fucking sad, and it's not because a character, like when a character I like is going through some shit, that's when it gets me, I think.
Well, it's like, have you ever seen This Is Us? Have you ever seen that show?
I have not, but
that's a show where every episode I have fucking bawled like a baby at least once. Every fucking episode.
This was a few years ago. I went to my buddy's house for like, it was an event. I want to say Super Bowl, but I could be wrong about that. It might have been Super Bowl. But the newest episode of This Is Us came out, and so I'm sitting on the couch. I had never watched an episode, still haven't to this day. And he goes, "Fuck you, Greg. Megan and I are watching the new episode of This Is Us." And so I was like, "All right, fine. I'll just sit over here and play on my Switch. No big deal." And so I'm playing on my Switch, and I'm not paying attention to the episode, but I hear that, and I look over, and both him and Megan are just fucking bawling.
Oh yeah, yeah. That it is that kind of show. I mean, you will cry at least once every episode. If you're a highly emotional person, just keep the tissues right there on hand. It's a necessity, because I mean that show's had me crying 5 minutes in. So.
A weird thing about me, I will start to tear up really bad if my emotions do run high regardless. So if I'm really, really happy with something, I'll start to like tear up.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, I've told people before, I cry at everything. And I mean, not just because I'm sad, I cry because I'm happy, I cry because I'm angry. And do not mistake my tears for, weakness. Because I could be crying my eyes out and still want to kill you. It means I'm angry and I'm very highly charged at the moment, and this is the only way for me to get this out without strangling you, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean it's I remember I still to this day remember going to see the Muppets movie with my nephews. And towards the end of the movie, I'm in the seat tearing up and whatnot. And they were both very confused. They're like, "Are you sad, Uncle Greg?" I was like, "No, I'm not sad. I'm actually really happy because that movie's great." The one with Jason Segel
Yeah.
is fucking fantastic. The sequel sucks, but that's besides the point.
They were indoctrinating our children, Greg.
Uh, but
It's better than the puppet show last night on D&D.
oh my god, that was
Banging soundtrack shit story.
that was so good. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it was about this specific episode, but I didn't. I guess because I know it's not canon, it didn't hit me like it hit you. Is all I was getting at. That was that the long way around is that point. But I get it hitting people. Like I totally understand it. I mean, you have to watch him suffer through her death like multiple fucking times.
Yeah, no matter what he did, it didn't change because it was a fixed point that this was going to happen. And it was so heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, just absolutely heartbreaking. And you understand what he's going through. You understand what he's feeling. You know, if you're a human and you've ever lost someone you love, you know what that feels like.
Yeah, I think I looked over at my dad and I was like, "This is rough."
Yeah. I mean, it was a very well done episode, and I think so far this is probably my favorite one.
Oh, it's
yeah.
we
Hands
can
down.
if you guys have any other thoughts, we can go into that, but if not, we can go right into the scoring
Yeah, it's fine.
grading, I should say. Well, Betty, why don't you go and go first?
I'd definitely give this one an A+. I think it just the story was told very, very well. It was cinematically beautiful, and it's something that touches everybody, should touch everybody. If it's not touching you, there's something wrong. You need to go talk with someone. But yeah, hands down, I think it's the best episode so far. And we're only on episode 4, so I'm looking forward to what they have to offer in the future. So definitely an A+. Who wants to go next? Maya?
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely an A+ episode. It really, it was more than a tug at the heartstrings. It was a full-on yank, multiple times. Brutally powerful. And it hit pretty hard for me because I've been in that exact situation and I know that feeling. And if I had an eye of Agamotto, I would have used it. There's just no straight up denying that.
I think a lot of people would say the same.
But seeing the fallout from all that and the endless attempts over and over, the failed attempts, was hard. It was hard to see. But absolutely wonderful, masterful storytelling done. So yeah, I give it an A+. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, A+. I mirror what you guys. I mean, I don't mirror the part where you're talking about where you've been there in that regard. I haven't myself personally. Maybe I'm lucky in that regard. I don't know. But I've never had to suffer loss like that to that extent. But I understand it. I understand it deeply. And I think there's a level of going like, yeah, this Stephen Strange, like you understand exactly what he's doing and you empathize with it, even though you know it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it even more powerful. It's not just a oh, Doctor Strange is being reckless and opens up the multiverse for Spider-Man. It's like he's doing this because his heart is shattered.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you see that a lot. You know that you see people who they're just devastated, and you know that what they're doing isn't the right thing, but you understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it hurts.
I think that's what made Thanos a better villain in the MCU than he was in the comics, because in the MCU he saw his entire race get erased, and he's trying to prevent any other race having to suffer that. And you go like, I get it. It's still wrong to commit genocide, but I get it. And this was the same thing with him. This was exactly the same thing. It was he didn't end up just destroying a world. He destroyed the universe, the
Mm-hmm.
entire universe. So it was a very well, and on top of the story just being fucking dynamite, the animation was amazing. The voice acting was fantastic. I mean, there was some stuff in this episode that I was like, oh wow, okay, this style of animation can really go full bore with it if they want to.
Oh yeah.
It was like this episode and the T'Challa episode. I was like, you can get away with animation that you can't get away with in live action. Period. Even if it is mostly CGI. And I'm and the other thing is that this is the kind of shit that I love with What If. This is exactly the kind of shit I love with What If. It just, you can have an extreme imagination with it. But here's the other thing. This episode was absolutely brutal and super fucking dark. What was the Spider-Man one they wrote that Marvel said it was too far?
Oh wow.
Good
that?
Lord.
No idea.
I need to know that one now.
Right? I'm like, y'all need to like put this on special reserve so people can watch it if they want to. Because I totally want to see this now.
I think next week will be a little bit more lighthearted, as it's called. Party Thor is the subtitle to, or the production title to it. But which we might need a little bit of a dial back, considering the last two are so rough. But but yeah, I'm glad that we're all in agreement that this was by far the best episode so far. All right, well, moving on. Freaky on HBO Max, which was in the theater for a brief time before it went to HBO Max. Let me double check that, because I think it came out
during the pandemic. So,
but was it in theaters during the pandemic?
I don't know.
I'm actually looking at the date. Yeah, right in the middle of the pandemic, November 13th. So I don't even know if it was in theaters. Maybe very, very few. Its box office return was 16 million. But it only cost $6 million to make, so I don't know. Which is very cheap for a movie. Anyway, plot. Take the concept of Freaky Friday, or any other body swap style movie, and make it about a serial killer instead. So right off,
grown man serial killer who ends up switching bodies with a 17-year-old girl.
Yes.
So that girl is Catherine Newton, who's been in some other stuff. I think she is a brilliant actress. She was in All the Tiny Perfect Things. I think that's what it's called. It's on Amazon. But she's really a good actress, and I think she definitely pulled off the serial killer vibe very well.
Oh yeah, no, I do agree with you there. I was gonna say that the thing about this movie that I didn't like, I want to get it out of the way, is that the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It had a very slow start.
I understand they were trying to do the, this is the setup, but it didn't have to take that long.
No.
It really didn't have to take that long. It's like,
It could
I
also
don't.
have been a little bit more interesting,
Well, yeah, I mean, it. There were some plot holes, absolutely,
Sure.
but it was cute.
It had plot holes just like which I maybe I'm reading too much into this, but its plot holes reminded me of just like slasher movie plot holes to begin with.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I think Vince Vaughn was very adorable as a teenage girl. The kiss scene in the back seat cracked me the fuck up.
that was pretty good. That's pretty funny. There
I
was
mean,
one moment that actually like I legitimately laughed out loud, but I don't remember what it was. Because for the most part, I think that's an issue, a small issue I take with the movie is that I maybe laughed out loud twice in general. But for the majority of the film, I was just kind of like, I was just enjoying it,
I should have got high first. I enjoyed it a lot more because I was high when I watched it. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
what did
I
you think
watched.
of it?
I didn't care for it very much.
I didn't think you would.
Yeah, it's just not. I don't mind body swap movies like that. I mean, I enjoy a couple of them from the past, and I don't mind slasher movies. They're not my favorite thing, but together it just didn't work for me. It just felt forced. Um, I got through it. I didn't hate it, but it just didn't land. Um, I
There
thought
there
Vince
are
Vaughn. I thought Vince Vaughn did a good job. Acting like a teenage girl.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I was gonna say that there are like to me this movie felt like it was trying to be an homage to two different styles of films: body swap movies like Freaky Friday, and
Uh-huh.
then slasher movies like Jason
Uh-huh.
or Friday the 13th, and which I mean they literally reference both of those throughout the film. But the thing that I felt like I've seen better when it comes to horror comedy homages is something like Cabin in the Woods or Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I
I
love that movie.
I think both of those kind of really nailed in the, um, we're not making fun of horror, we're not making fun of these styles, but we're just having fun. Whereas this felt like it was just taking the two genres and just going with it. It didn't feel like it gave a shit about either genre outside of just utilizing it for a story.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Have either of you seen Happy Death Day?
Not yet. I really want to.
No, I've never heard of it.
It is so good. And I feel like they were trying and capitalize in on that kind of market because Happy Death Day was not at all what I thought it was going to be. And I was so pleasantly surprised with that fucking movie. And it was great. It was fucking great.
For anyone who doesn't know, Happy Death Day is basically like horror movie version Groundhog's Day.
Yes, it's fabulous. I mean, I think that's what they were trying to do as well by mixing the body swap and the horror, and they didn't pull it off as well. I mean, there's so much more they could have done, especially the fact that, they're in two very different bodies than what they originally are in. That's going to cause some issues. That's going to cause some hilarity that they could have used in certain ways. I mean, I'm sorry. If I wake up with a dick, my first thought is, what the hell is that? I mean, that's
That
just
was
me.
that was I think a joke that I liked. I don't think I laughed at it like out loud, but I definitely enjoyed it. Was the she gets kicked in the balls for the first time, and she's like, "Oh right, I have balls."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "That's actually pretty funny."
And that comes back, and that's how she uses that in the end. And she's like, "Yeah, well, I remember. You've got balls. I've hit so many dudes with their balls with my purse when I was a teenager." And I didn't mean to do it. I would bend over to get in my locker, and I'd swing my purse back, and if my boyfriend was standing behind me, they'd always get knocked in the nuts. I felt really bad about it.
One joke that I really enjoyed was maybe not a joke, but it was a gag. Was Vince Vaughn doing the high school cheer?
Oh yeah.
That feels like Jesus. That's good. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's another. It's not a comedy, horror comedy, but it is an homage. It has funny moments. I don't know what to describe it as, but it's Drag Me to Hell. Have you guys seen that one?
Yeah,
No.
Oh, I fucking love Drag Me to Hell. It's so good.
that was a good one. See, and
Um,
I think you'd really like Happy Death Day. I think Maya would even like Happy Death Day. This one was just, this was Freaky was like an attempt to try and cash in on that kind of success, and they could have done better.
Oh yeah, that, like, again, I think what makes films like Tucker and Dale versus Evil or Cabin in the Woods or Drag Me to Hell so good is that you get this sense of love of the genre. I didn't get that from this at all. Like the first two Scary Movie movies that the Wayans brothers did, it felt like they loved those movies that they were parodying. And then once they moved away and it got to the other scary movies, it dragged itself away from that. And it was just like, how many jokes can we add into this per minute? And unfortunately, Freaky kind of just feels that way. Like it's like they were just trying to kind of cash in on, like you said, Betty, the popularity of Happy Death Day or that style of filmmaking. But
yeah, mixing the two genres like that together, that's what they were trying to cash in on. And they just, it didn't, it fell a little flat. I mean, again, it wasn't a bad movie. I wouldn't say, oh God, don't watch this movie.
Right.
But, I would definitely say get a little high before you watch this movie. You'll enjoy it more.
Yeah, I think it's on HBO Max, and if you have the service and you're looking for a fun, light horror movie to watch, definitely this one is the choose. If you haven't seen the other ones we listed, I think if you haven't seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil or Cabin in the Woods, do that first. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is easily one of the best movies of all time. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Betty. It's not a bad film. Am I ever going to watch it again? No, nope. But
Yeah, that was probably the only time I'll ever watch it.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. I didn't hate it. It just felt forced in places. And some of the jokes were decent. A lot of them didn't land. I don't know. I don't have a terrible amount to say about it. Key takeaway is here. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It had its moments. I think my biggest thing is, the setup, like you said, it took a long time to get to the point to where they switched it up.
That entire setup, by the way, felt that was the most forced. Like, oh, he conveniently finds the dagger. Okay.
Yeah. Her two friends were amusing enough. I didn't find them to be too overly
obnoxious.
Yeah, exactly. Too obnoxious. Just obnoxious enough. But I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, again, if you're gonna watch it, have a couple glasses of wine, a couple beers, have a joint or something. You'll enjoy it more. It definitely is one of those movies that I'm probably not going to watch it again because there's a plethora of other movies that if I have to rewatch something, I'd choose something else.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on there. I have too much on my plate as it is, and had you not suggested this last week, Betty, I don't know if I would have ever watched it.
Yeah, I was very curious to see how you guys felt about it because I was like, okay, we'll see because I know how I feel about it. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie. So let's see how this goes with y'all, because you guys tend to have very, you know, you're not exactly the same view as me all the time. So I was very curious what you guys were going to think of it. Now I know, and we're all kind of on the same page. I mean, honestly, I'd probably give it a C plus, B minus, and that's being generous. I'm grading on a curve.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna give it a B minus as well. I think that it's fine. I think it's more funny than it's not. And one of the things I will say that I actually enjoyed about it was the like in the hot chick. The thing that I didn't like about that movie was it felt like Rob Schneider was forcing this gag too hard. But the thing I enjoyed about this is that on very few occasions, that I feel like Vince Vaughn was trying to push it too hard. Because that, to me, in my mind, is the difference between girls and boys, is to an extent, there's a sense of like normality that girls have, especially teenage girls, that it's not all girly and frilly and like, oh my god, nah. It's not like that all the fucking time. So why act that way the entire time if you're doing a body swap movie? And I thought Vince Vaughn did really well, or at least the writers did really well, at making him / her very normal in a way. Like, yes, you did have the scene where he's doing the cheer, but it felt correct in the context. There's the scene in the back of the cop car that I personally felt was a little too forced.
Yeah. Not the cop car.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Not the backseat of the car. My bad. It was at the
Yeah, that was a little. It's like, huh? Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Or the gag that I thought was just too easy. It was low hanging fruit. Was when she wakes up in his body in his like death dome or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and the fucking random crackhead shows up. I was like, what was the point of that joke? That didn't go anywhere, and you made the whole crackheads will suck dick for joke. Like,
I'll
it's
suck your dick. Yeah, that wasn't funny either. And at that point, I was almost ready to tune out, but I kept going.
it's such a tired fucking trope. Like, it's not like, I know that it was for a single gag for this movie, which makes it marginally better, but like, you can see my face if you're watching the YouTube channel. This is my face during that scene.
Did you happen to think that maybe it was an actual crackhead who just walked on set?
No, that's
I'm sorry. We had our own meth head encounter in the past week at the office. Matt had parked his car next to the building next to where our office is at, and he went outside to smoke a cigarette, and there's feet sticking out of his car window, and there's a fucking meth head and his meth head girlfriend trying to steal out of Matt's car. And so Matt ends up punching the dude in the face and telling him to get the fuck out of there and leave. And yeah, that was a fun experience.
I mean, like, going into downtown Sacramento, I have had my experiences of run-ins with crackheads as well. And I can tell you that them begging for money or drugs to the point that they will say, I'll suck your dick, is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, no.
However, for the sake of a comedy, it's just a tired gag. It just is. And I think that's my issue with it, is that
I'm sorry. Dick jokes will never be old to me. I will always laugh at a good dick joke because dicks are funny.
That's the thing. A good one. This wasn't a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
This wasn't a good one.
No. It was because it's low-hanging fruit. And it's not offensive by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just not funny. It's just straight up not funny. It's
And
like
I
said,
think that's another thing about the movie too that didn't work, is it was kind of disjointed, you know, and how it all played out. I mean, you know, it felt a little too disjointed to me. And, you know, I don't know if they filmed it while we were quarantining at the beginning or when they filmed it.
I think it was all
But-
filmed in 2019.
Yeah, so they did this before quarantine. I mean, there were certain scenes with a lot of, extras, and then there were certain scenes when I felt like there should have been extras and there was nobody around. I'm like, this is not reality.
Also, in what country, what universe do high school football teams play on Thursday nights when it's homecoming week?
Was it Thursday night? I didn't pick up on what day it
Yes.
was.
Yes, because it was after the game when they did the body swap.
Yeah, you
Well,
wouldn't
yeah,
do that
that.
on a Thursday.
I didn't pick up that it was Thursday is all. That's all I was getting at.
Yep.
But I guess
because
they
it was
had
Friday the 13th when she woke up.
to.
That's right. You are correct.
And they had to do that so
Did
they
not
could
pick
do
up
the
on that.
school scenes. And, because if it was a Saturday, there would have been nobody in the school for her to fucking kill and go look hot too. So,
Yeah. I did not. I think that's because I wasn't paying that close attention to those specific aspects. I was just I was waiting for how the body swap was going to happen and whatnot. So
this
just
is
didn't pay that
and I don't feel like they explained the body swapping thing enough either. What the hell was going on there? What kind of magic? I mean, I don't feel like that was fully explained.
It wasn't.
That's
It
that's
wasn't.
also one of those things that I would argue that it doesn't inherently matter.
It did a little bit though, because I mean, you got this ancient dagger. I'm like, well, why does it do this? I mean, obviously, I'm very curious as to how it got where it got, and again, there's a lot of backstory I felt they could have filled in instead of spending that 20 minutes showing that little girl's living in a dysfunctional family with a dead dad. Yeah, I mean,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Like they could have utilized that aspect to round out the opening of the movie a little bit better. I think my only argument is in the regards of the plot of the body swap and them trying to get it back to normal using this magical dagger. It's to me not one of those things that's inherently important to the plot. Is all. I get where you're coming from, though, wanting to know it and all that jazz. I totally get that. And it definitely would have probably made the intro better. And I didn't think that the intro, the prologue, I'm going to call it, with him in the house killing those teens.
the rich teenagers.
Yeah, where he got the dagger. I thought that was actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah, except for, again, there was a big point of, you really had to have suspension of disbelief for certain parts of this movie, like where she hid in the secret closet door and he walks away and she comes out. I'm like, bitch, I would not be coming. Yeah, and I'm not leaving until my mom and dad come home. And if I hear gunshots, I'm waiting for the motherfucking cops. Okay, it's just no. Why did she come right out? That's not realistic, and it bugged the hell out of me.
And I think
like
that was
girl code 101. You stay the fuck hidden, okay?
I think that was another aspect that I think they were trying to make an homage to slasher films by having the character make a stupid mistake.
Well, at that point, she should have just gone and hid in the bathroom with a shower curtain. That would have been, because that was a monumentally stupid mistake.
And that's exactly I think where the movie feels a little disjointed is why did this character make a classic horror movie mistake where no other character in this movie was doing that and they're all the same age?
Yeah.
And also, there were 2 murders that happened in the school that you never see any resolution to. You don't.
That's right.
Because nobody cares.
Well, I mean, Alan Ruck played a great asshole shop teacher, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that was great.
That was just so out of character for him to see him play such a dick like that.
Yeah,
I do want to praise this movie in one aspect. Well done on the gore.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. The three jocks that were dismembered. I was like, holy shit! All right, cool. Done and done.
Well, I mean, hell, Alan Ruck's character, total
Yeah.
body dissection by a table saw.
Yeah, that was good. It was very good.
Again, I mean, if they had some good stuff, and they just could have done a lot more to make it better.
Yeah, I agree. Or done it slightly differently.
Yeah, just something. It
I
needs a
know.
little polishing.
Yeah, I was like, I know that I can be a bit of a snob when it comes to comedy, but I got to tell you, like, it
No.
always bothers. Shush. It always bothers me when movies that I know are written by people who have great comedic talent, and it's just like, oh, they grabbed the low hanging fruit on that one. Like, it's just disappointing. So, I think that's where like certain parts of it for me were just didn't land. But anyway, we should. I think Betty and I have given it a grade, but we should give our final thoughts and a grade because I got stuff to do today, y'all.
All right, I'll go ahead. I'm gonna give it a C minus. It wasn't. It was a little below average. Wasn't.
That's a grade.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot. Well, we've watched a lot worse for
Oh
this
God,
for
yeah.
this podcast. It wasn't anything it didn't get me excited or anything like that. There were a couple of cool moments, but it just, for the most part, it was disjointed. It didn't land well. There were some good things about it. I mean, there's some good ingredients there. It's just they pulled it out of the oven a little too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I was gonna say Betty and I gave it a B minus. I thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Just to clarify my points, like I thought that for the most part it was entertaining. I enjoyed what it gave to me. But I do think that I thought it's some of the jokes were just too easy. And I think maybe that they took they wrote the script too quick. I think somebody had an idea, they passed it off to a couple screenwriters, and that's the problem with this movie. I don't think it had like a solid direct vision, because if it did, you'd feel the love of the genre, whereas this was not that. But
Yeah. I mean, again, I'd give it a B minus, C plus, somewhere in that range, and take into account that I was in an altered state of mind. So I feel like I'm being a little generous, and they could have done better. I love the main actress though, Catherine Newton. The stuff I've seen her in, I think she's a great actress, and she's young, and I can't wait to see what other things she's going to do in the future, because I think she has a lot of potential.
She's going to be in the Ant-Man and the Wasp. She's playing Cassie Lang now.
Oh, sweet.
She's playing Scott Lang's daughter.
that's rad. I didn't know that.
In the new Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Yep.
She's a great actress. I mean, she's really got a lot of potential. So I look forward to seeing it.
Dope. Yeah, I had no idea. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this puppy up. If you didn't pick up on it, we're watching What If episode 5 tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week. Which I'm pretty sure it's the Party Thor episode. Don't know what it's going to be about, but I'm hoping it's a lot more entertaining and not. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Lighthearted.
It's a lot more lighthearted. Need a little bit of a break from the sour and dour. Personally. But yeah, if we add anything that we're going to review, if one of us is like, hey, Saturday, here's this movie, do we want to watch it? And we all agree, we'll let you know on the social medias, which you can find all the links down below. Also, head to the YouTube channel. That's where we're going to have our personal reviews if we upload something like that, or the video of this podcast. And what I'm hoping to do here very soon, if you go to we built one for the show personally, but it wasn't getting as much traction, and I already have a lot of views. So go to twitch.tv/ChubRockGeek, because starting very soon, this month in September, we're going to start going back to streaming some Jackbox since the new Jackbox Party Pack 8 is coming out probably in October. So we kind of want to get the ball rolling on that. And I want to upload the VODs from that onto the YouTube channel. So, go subscribe to twitch.tv/ChubRuckGeek and the YouTube, the YouTube page, which is All Queued Up Podcast. The dogs are very excited about the Jackbox stream, so I'm glad to hear that. We're also hoping for the Jackbox streams to get our D&D buddies, the people that we've been doing the D&D campaign with. We want to get them in on it, which I think would be a lot of fucking fun. A lot of fun.
Well, not really buddies, is family.
Well, they're buddies to me.
Okay, I gotta peace out.
Okay.
All right. Peace, love, and Polly Pops.
I hope everything's okay.
Ooh, all right. Well, I don't remember her outro. But if you go to last week, you can follow Betty Badger on just about every social media site. I think
she's on Facebook, and Twitter. She's Rainbow Brat Betty. But yeah, if you want to follow me on social media, you can do so. I'm on Facebook under my name, Maya Dawn Fisher. It's a public profile. So if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, which I'm trying to be more active on, and I'm not great at it, but I have a presence. Those are publicly linked to my Facebook profile. As for other shows you can catch me on, I'm on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel on 2 shows. One every other Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Figure Bangin'. It's a live action figure review podcast where we look at new Transformers and, make juvenile jokes. It's kind of fun. If that's your thing, check it out. If it's not, check it out anyway. Give it a chance. Participate in the live chat. We enjoy that. But Friday nights, every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Nerd Life Syndicate, where we get together and talk about the latest in the pop culture and entertainment world, varying from movies, TV shows, comics, toys. We're all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. Video games too, not as much, but we enjoy it. We have a good time. We love interacting with our chat, and our chat's been growing. The live audience has been growing here recently, and it's been a lot of fun. So we really appreciate that. Definitely check that out. Because I think there's a lot more crossover between this podcast audience and Nerd Life Syndicate podcast audience because of the similarity in the topics that we discuss.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's everywhere where you can find me. What about you, Greg?
You can follow me on all social medias under Chub Rock Geek. Anthony and I are going to be doing more stuff with with Mission Start. We were actually going to record a podcast this last Saturday, and we both completely forgot. Just full on forgot. I have been dealing with a lot over here and scatterbrained like a motherfucker, so it makes sense that I forgot. But hopefully we can record one soon. But I'm definitely going to finish Psychonauts 2 and do a full-on video review. So hopefully he can have that edited and up on the site or the YouTube channel soon. So if you want to go, if you enjoy video game stuff, go check out Mission Start Podcast on your favorite podcast site and Mission Start Tubes on YouTube. But that's about it for me. Like I said again, folks, episode 5 of What If, and then if we add something, you'll know on the socials. But that's going to do it for us. As Betty said earlier, peace, love, and Polly Pops.
Take care, everybody.